Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for the Mobile County Public Schools. In the studio today we have from Murphy High School, Miss Nancy Shokers, varsity volleyball coach, and from LaFleur High School, Coach Anthony Schamberger, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach. And after this message, we'll be back with our guests.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to the studio. Our first guest is Miss Nancy Shokers, the volleyball coach from Murphy High School. Thanks for coming, Miss Shokers.
Thanks for having me.
I want to add the Hall of Fame coach, Miss Nancy Shokers. You want to tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, one of those experiences where you never know when you start your career that you can ever reach a goal like that. Was very excited this past year when they called me and said that I had been inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was a great night, a great experience, and like I said, one that I never thought I would achieve in a lifetime.
Well, very well deserving, and it kind of caps off a great career that you've had, and hopefully we're going to get many more years out of you. But how are things at Murphy High School?
Things are moving right along at Murphy. We are excited about our season. We're having a really good season. It's a very, very competitive year. We are very young, and we're senior driven. I have 3 seniors, and then I have 3 sophomores on my team who are very young and learning. They work extremely hard. So we're kind of, you know, it's one of those seasons and one of those mixtures where the older kids are teaching the younger kids, but they're doing a great job.
Ms. Shokers, let's talk a little bit about the transition to 7A. Y'all were one of those that was moved over across the bay.
Yes.
Along with McGill. So you want to talk a little bit about that transition?
Yeah, it's a very competitive area. We're in with the other, well, there's 4 of us over there who are 7A, Fairhope, Foley, and then us and McGill. So there's the 4 of us and then 5 in the Mobile area. And as I say, you know, the community schools are very, very, they really help each other out, and they, you know, really have a great following. So it's a really competitive and tough area to be in. We're all kind of on the same level, and so it's going to be a really competitive season as far as our area play is concerned.
We was talking earlier about how volleyball gets here, and then volleyball goes by so fast.
Yeah.
So where y'all at in the season?
We're right at mid-season. We have just maybe 3 more weeks of regular season, and then we start our area tournaments and then super regionals up in Montgomery. So I would say mid-season. It's gone by really fast. We've you know, have 2 more tournaments left, and we've played 3 tournaments. So that's.
What are some of the teams, outstanding teams, and of course we've got quite a few here that you've played this year, including both areas?
Right. Well, we've played Fairhope. They're very, very good. have gone 1-1 with them. Unfortunately lost in our area play. We beat them in their tournament, but they're extremely talented all the way around, very talented. Play McGill Thursday. Of course, in the lower division, St. Paul's is very competitive. We've unfortunately lost to them. We played Baker, a very good match. We're trying to learn how to finish matches, so but that's okay too. We're developing and we're moving right along, and hopefully we're right where we need to be as far as they say in your peaking situation. Right. When you complete matches too early, I think you tend to start relaxing a little bit. So I think we're right where we need to be as far as that's concerned. We did go to Enterprise this weekend in their tournament and made it to the gold round and lost, but beat Enterprise along the way, and they're one of our, if we're fortunate enough to make it to Super Regionals, they'll possibly be our first round in Super Regionals. So we were very excited to have the opportunity to play them, and played them in a good tight match, and we're fortunate enough to win that match.
Shokers, do you still think that we are behind the northern part of the state in volleyball, or have we caught up, or have we passed them?
Yeah, I think we're making strides to get a little bit closer. They are, I think, ahead of us, and it's mainly because of the club situations, you know, and I know you hear that all of the time. But we have another club coming into our area with South. The coaches over there are developing a club. They had it last year. And it really does make a big difference with the programs. And that's, you know, really, truly where our kids are seen by their by the colleges now. They don't put the emphasis on seeing high school so much because they're in their seasons as well, and it's hard for them to send scouts. So really the club, as far as our kids getting recognized and scholarships, the club programs really help us out. You know, we film and we do those things to help our kids, but the upper level, the kids who are going to be recruited are out in these big tournaments in the summer and the winter, and they're playing and they're being seen.
When does the club season start? How start and end? Is it a long?
It starts almost after we're finished.
Really?
They start playing in December. I believe it's December, and then they finish in May, and then they start AAUs in June. So my kids, the ones who are playing, pretty much go from having a month off or 2 months off, and then they start and finish up in the summer with AAUs.
And I've noticed some of these AAU teams. We've got a basketball player here, I think, from Theodore. He played in Atlanta this summer. So it's all over the Southeast.
It is, and I was lucky to have a player, one of my sophomores. She was invited up to Oklahoma and played on a elite team in Oklahoma, just learning, and it was a camp and then a tournament. So she tried out for this team along with, I think, about 1,500 kids, and was fortunate enough to make it. So, you know, that it's a big deal. It really is a big deal for the kids, and in recruiting and things like that. And it actually makes it a little bit easier for the high school coaches, because we do have them helping us out. You know, I had several coaches, college coaches, at our match last week watching my sophomore.
So that's great.
So that was fun. But,
okay, Ms. Shokers, we're going to have you back in our last segment, and after these messages, we'll be back with Coach Schamberger.
So, Nicholas, how was your day at school today?
It was great. We had fun in class today.
So, what did you do differently today at school? I mean, any new projects?
We got a progress report today.
You got your progress reports today? So, how did you do?
Don't know.
You don't know. That's okay. We can check that right here. Wow. Nicholas.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back. We have Coach Anthony Schamberger, head football coach and AD at LaFleur High School. Coach, appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me, Calvin.
And Coach, how are things at LaFleur High School?
Things good. The team is looking pretty decent, and we're getting better each and every game.
Coach, you've got kind of a up and down season. You want to talk a little bit about it so far?
Yeah, we been doing pretty good.
You've played close, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been up and down. We've been doing some good things on offense, and the defense hadn't been where we would like it to be. But yesterday in the meeting, we're hoping to make some changes, and hopefully these changes will help us out in the future.
And Coach, who do you have this week?
We got Williamson High School this week.
Williamson High School. You want to give us a report on them?
Well, they are tough.
They're a scrappy
physical
bunch,
football
aren't they?
team. They got some good athletic kids, and we got our hands full Friday night.
Coach, how has the new area been for you, or new region been for you this year? I know it's been a change. You are in a tough region.
Yeah, it's definitely competitive. We was in 5A the last few years, and this year we moved up to 6A, and we got some really tough teams in there. Saraland, Daphne, Blunt, Robertsdale, Baldwin County, they all are tough, and we got to play each and every week.
Coach, that's for sure. And you're now, how many are in your regions? Is 7 or 8? Or
It's 8
8,
total.
8, okay.
Yeah. And they're going to take the top 4 for the playoffs, and hopefully pray that we'll be in there.
And right now, you're right in the thick of it, aren't you?
We are. Yes, we are.
Okay. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about some of your players this year? I know you've got a couple of the top players in the whole county.
Yeah, James Leatherwood is a kid that was a sophomore when I first got to LaFleur, and he's playing extremely well. He went for 30 carries for 277 yards this past week, and the first week of the season he went for 30 for 161, so he's been doing well. We got Rodney English kid that transferred in from Davidson. He hurt his shoulder against Spanish Fort and didn't play this past week, and he's been doing well. We got a couple of DBs that's doing outstanding, and we're just hoping that we can put it all together and continue throughout the season.
Now, Coach, Leatherwood's being recruited pretty heavy, isn't he?
He is. Mississippi State and Auburn, they're interested in him. He got one offer right now, and I think that would get, he'll have more later on in the season. But Grambling has offered him already, and just got to keep working.
Now, where do you think he'll be at the college level where he would play? I guess he'd be recruited as an athlete.
Right. I think he'll
play anywhere,
yeah,
can he?
he can, but I think if he go and play cornerback, I think this is a kid that will really do well on Saturdays, and I think he'll have an opportunity to play on Sundays.
Now, Coach, what are you doing on offense this year, and does it change with English being out?
No, it didn't. We actually just put Leatherwood at quarterback. Okay. We got some young running backs that we like a lot, and we just put Leatherwood at quarterback. We zone reading on offense, and Leatherwood did an outstanding job along with English. So it didn't change much.
Now, what have you faced this year as far as offenses? Have you faced a lot of the spread, or? We
have. We faced a lot of the spread. We faced some good running quarterbacks that hurt us. When we stopped the tailbacks, the quarterbacks end up hurting us. So we got to make some changes on the defensive front, and I think what we're trying to do would help us. Okay, and what are you trying to run on defense this year, Coach? Right now we're a 3-4 team, and we're thinking about changing from a 3-4 to a 4-3 team, and we'll see how that helps. Okay. Is Leatherwood the only one that's being recruited? You're talking about you had some DBs. No. Have you got other kids that they're looking at? We got a few more that's getting recruited. We got Rodney English. He's getting recruited. We got D'Angelo Stewart, a wide receiver. He's being recruited. We got Eric Jackson, a cornerback, that's been recruited, and a couple of linebackers also. Coach, talk a little bit about your staff over there. You've got a good staff that you've been able to keep some of them do.
from year to year. Of course, we all lose coaches in the course, but if you can keep the core, it really helps.
Yeah, it helps. But we got Greg Quinney. He's the defensive coordinator. Henry Cox, he's the defensive line coach. We got Coach West, which is the offensive line coach. Coach Bush is the quarterbacks coach. But the thing about it is, none of those guys are on campus. Nobody but me and Coach West. And it makes it tough a little bit because it's hard to have meetings. And,
It is, yeah.
And it's always good for the kids to see the coaches throughout the day. And right now, we don't have that.
And Coach Quinney's been around for a long time, hasn't he?
Right.
I mean,
He was actually the head coach over there for about 6 years. And he's doing an outstanding job with the defense.
He's very well versed. Coach, tell us a little bit about your off-season workouts. People, you know, it's kind of a year-round program in just about all the sports.
Yeah, we work after the season is over. We give the kids about 2 weeks off. We remax them, and we go in the weight room, and we go for 12 months. We like everybody else. If you don't do that, you're going to be behind. So if you want to be competitive, it's best that you get those kids in there and get to work them for 12 months.
Now, Coach, do you have them come in at a certain time every day, or do you leave it open during the day, or how does that work?
No, the way we do it is all our coaches are there, and during the summertime, during the winter, it's me and Coach West. We work fourth block, and we also have a group that come in after school. So we get the young kids from the middle schools that come in after school. So it's basically just a all year thing. We don't stop. We're trying to compete. We want to be one of the top teams in the state. So we got to get to working.
Now, Coach, were you able to have a freshman team this year, or?
We don't have a freshman team. We got a mixture of freshmen and JVs, and we play on a JV schedule. We played Blunt the other day, and it was a really good game over at our place, and we like what we see with our young kids too.
Okay. Have you been able to get into the middle schools, any of your feeder schools?
Yeah, we go over to Booker Washington, and we also go over to Callaway Smith. We got a bunch of kids from over there. Got about right at 70 kids on our roster right now, and I think as time goes on, we're gonna have a little bit more. We just got to keep competing in this 6A region.
It's tough. I'm telling you, if you put all the regions in the state together, y'all may be up there as the toughest, because it seems like over half of them are playoff teams, you know,
Exactly.
and it just makes it tough. And you've had a good run with playoffs,
Yeah,
haven't you?
we've been there the last 2 years. This is my third year here, and we've been in the playoffs the last 2 years. But anytime you're playing Daphne, Blunt, Saraland, Spanish Fort, I mean, you got your hands filled.
There's going to be some good teams that are going to be left at home, isn't it, Coach?
Exactly.
Coach, I know you're the head football coach, and that is a full-time job, but you're also the athletic director, and that just about takes on a full-time job, doesn't it?
It does, because we got over maybe 15, 16 different sports that's at the school, and you got to deal with kids and eligibility and all that stuff there, and you have to be on top of it.
You do.
You know, if you don't, you make a big mistake, and it's gonna cost you if you make that mistake.
That's right. That's right. All right, Coach, we're going to bring Ms. Shokers back in our last segment, and after this break, we'll be right back.
It started with me at Murphy High School when I came here as a freshman in 1973. I was very interested in math and science already before I came to Murphy. From Murphy High School, I was appointed to the U.S. Naval Academy, was able to get my college degree and also my commission in the U.S. Navy from the Naval Academy. But it truly was the foundation that I gained here at Murphy High School that allowed me to take advantage of that great opportunity.
Welcome back. Our last segment, we brought Ms. Shokers back in. And Ms. Shokers, one question I wanted to ask you that I forgot to ask you earlier. Are you going to have any of your girls to, are they being recruited, any of your seniors?
One of my girls is being recruited. She hasn't figured out where she's going to go. Another senior is actually a track star, so she'll go track. And then my third senior could possibly go softball. So I've got
good.
3 of them who are being recruited, not necessarily for volleyball, but just really good athletes.
But you've got a sophomore, you said a 6'3" sophomore. Now
I do.
She's getting looks already.
Yeah, she is definitely getting looks. She's also an IB student. I spoke to you about that, the International Baccalaureate. So she's not only very gifted athletically, but really smart in the classroom, and actually wants to go music as well. That's what her
well-rounded.
Her thoughts are with her major, but she wants to play volleyball. And yeah, it's going to be fun with her being just a sophomore. It's going to be fun the next couple of years.
If kids could only realize, if a college coach sees a kid and they've got those great grades, I mean, they move up to the top of the list. And when it comes to 2 kids the same, they're going to take the one with the grade. Because they could get some academic and they don't have to necessarily use an athletic scholarship on them. So it's way ahead of the game if they could just realize that in the 9th grade.
Right.
So, and it's gotten to the point, we was talking about this last week, with the clearinghouse and all, you just about got to treat every kid in 9th grade as a Division I prospect. And somebody was saying, well, you know, you can pick out the good ones, but, you know, a kid in the 9th grade, he comes back in 10th grade, he may have grown 4 inches.
Exactly.
You know,
you just don't know. I mean, you need to treat them all.
Put them in the weight rooms, put on 20 pounds, and, you know, the next thing you know, he's got all D's, and now he's behind the curve.
Exactly, and that's happening with a lot of kids. You have really, really good talent, but the grades are the things that holds them back. So if the kids can realize when they first come in as 9th graders, to make sure that they take care of their books, and I think they'll be fine by the time they're seniors.
Coach, I know y'all monitor them. How do y'all go about monitoring these kids?
Well, we have an academic advisor, Sherry McDade. She does an outstanding job with keeping up with the kids. I mean, it's a bunch of kids she have to keep up with, but she does an outstanding job with it, and she's on top of it. If our kids are having problems with any class, we make sure that they go to tutoring and they get the help that they need.
If Miss McDade told me to get the class, I would get the class. She is excellent. She's been around, just a wonderful lady, and can do anything.
That's right. She is a legend over at our place.
She is definitely a legend.
We love her to death over there.
She would be hard to replace.
That's right.
So, Ms. Shokers, I wanted to ask you this question because I had a similar path that you had. I started private school and went to public. What's the difference to you?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. You have great experiences in both places. It's tougher in the public school system to coach because you don't have the feed program like you do in the private schools. I was lucky when I was at St. Paul's. I had those kids on campus with me, and I could teach the coaches right there what I wanted taught. And so my 7th and 8th grade and freshmen or JV coaches learned my system when the kids were in middle school. That makes it so much easier when the kids are coming up. I mean, they've learned how to pass the way I want them to pass. They've learned the defenses I want them to have. And in the public schools, we get them when they're freshmen. A lot of times, well, of course, we've got to teach them our system. We've got to teach them those skills. And a lot of times, if the kids aren't so trained, we're having to teach them skills. And in the private schools, those skills are taught. They know those skills. And that makes it a lot easier as far as the athletics is concerned.
But you know, Ms. Shokers, what I have found out is, and I was in private 9 years, is you've got good kids in both, and you've got those kids that really need help. It doesn't, even in the private school, it boils down to kids are kids no matter where they're at. And like I said, some of them's going to need all the attention that you can possibly give them no matter where they're at, because I think a lot of times we think that the private schools get all the good kids and everything's, but you know, there's problems in
Right.
both. But I can see where that'd be advantage having the kids
Mm-hmm.
coming up and you could see them, because when you get ninth graders, you don't know what you're gonna get.
No, you don't. Some kids come from programs that's not as successful as others, and some kids are not as serious about the sports that they're playing. So I'm assuming from private school perspective, you would see that having the kids down on campus, you know, you can groom them and train them up the way you would like them to be.
I just think that, you know, kids are kids no matter where they're at,
Right.
and it's what you do with them when you get them. And the thing about public schools is you'll get kids that maybe a star athlete at the middle school has maybe not have worked as hard, and when you get him, you've got to take him, and first thing he's probably, you know, practice hadn't done exactly what he needed to do.
Right.
But those kind of kids you really have to work on.
Yeah, it's a little tough with those kids too, because they think they're supposed to come in and automatically start on the varsity level. And once you get them in practice, they see that they can't handle it right now. And then you may get one or two that may can, but for the most part, they don't handle it well. And then they realize that they need to come up through the freshman and JV program to get themselves prepared for varsity.
Ms. Shokers, who have you got? Who you gonna play next? Your game coming up?
Tomorrow we play Mary Montgomery at home, and then Thursday we play McGill at home. So that'll
Okay.
be another area match for us.
Be a tough game for you. And Coach, you've got
We got Wilson Friday night will be our homecoming.
be homecoming at
Last
Last
Stadium.
Stadium.
Yes,
That
sir.
sounds great. Well, listen, I appreciate both y'all taking out from your busy day and coming. Our school system's lucky to have both of y'all. Y'all doing an excellent job, and I just appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for
Thanks
coming.
for having us.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you watching today, and we will see you next week.